KM Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Joey G, Big Lou, the sports book, every Tuesday night. KM Radio, Big Lou, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. It was a holiday weekend, joyous occasion. Football's back, y'all. Albeit preseason, it's football, and we're good with that. Got to see a lot of rookies out on the field. Got to see some veterans that didn't look so good. I guess we get a chance to get into all of that and unpack all those groceries when we get a chance to.
So Saturday I went and played in the poker tournament. Horseshoe's got a poker tournament. It's a $200 buy-in, $100 rebuy. First prize was 7,900. Yours truly only finished 20th. And get to make it in the money, but it's a really good turnout. Guys like playing cards. A really good payday. A lot of good poker players. A lot of regulars. A lot of people from out of town will come in for the game. It's a nice game. It starts at 4. Got to be there by 3 to register. To get a chance to check it out. And like I was telling you, I said, so we went and we started playing around with the overs and had a good weekend. Really, I mean, took San Fran. So there's a lot of action. I don't know about picking the winner. Now that's the preseason to me. This isn't too determined.
Yeah, it's that setup for the win and the loss.
But like I took the Saints over, and the Saints, the Saints won, but I'm saying they were scoring points. San Francisco's over was 37.5, which I thought was low. One there. So there's still some action. And of course, baseball is hot and rolling, and we're getting ready. So let me ask you this. I was kind of baffled that Wilson played as long as he did.
But that's Sean Payton. He had all of the starters for the first what is it, first half or first quarter or the first 4 drives. He
I
had them out
lost my
there the first 4
audio.
drives. Oh, I still hear you good though.
Are you there, Lou?
Yeah.
All right, I lost you for a second. I'm sorry. We'll
Yeah,
cover that.
I hear you, but there you go. All right.
Okay. So I was surprised again how much Wilson played.
Mhm.
Because he played, and everyone was like, what's he doing? And I think Wilson's. I think Wilson wants to have. I mean, I think they're all top competitors. I think Wilson's kind of want to show people like, hey, last year it wasn't me. This is going to be my year. Because he played. I mean, he played. He actually. He played for a minute. It wasn't like he just played one down.
Right. Yeah, they played the first 4 series, as a matter of fact. And
Yeah, I thought that was.
Sean Payton. That's just Sean Payton sending a message, and he has a lot of work to do, especially with that offensive line. He has a lot of work because that was the second and third tier defense with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he has some work to do with that offensive line, but I think that's just him setting the tone for the team, and I believe his comments were probably, the comments that he made last week were probably made out of frustration, and because the GM is still in the building,
Right.
so there
Yeah,
you
I think
go.
he was
But
frustrated. Yeah, I agree with you. I think out of frustration. I mean, they got, like I said, they got a lot. You pay the guy a lot of money, um,
mhm,
and like I said, it's preseason. They
right.
lost, not a big thing. This is in racing they call it test and tune, right? We're test
Yeah,
and
test and
tuning.
tune. They're just trying to see, what kind of motor they're running, if you will. So the first game that's where you expect all your mistakes to be anyway, because you're getting back into football mode and football shape and football speed. So
Right.
I believe, you're gonna see the mistakes, the first game, and yeah, but you could tell right off the bat where your holes are and what you need to work on. And that's one of their main, that's one of their issues that they need to address. But like I said, he's got a struggling O line, and he's in a division with Mahomes, Herbert, and with the Raiders, he should be okay. They haven't, they're having quarterback issues, but he still got, two other quarterbacks he's got to deal with, and their
Yeah, well,
defenses, so.
I mean, you got Jimmy G over in Oakland and
Hmm.
over in Vegas. Um, so I don't know. They got their hands. They got their hands full. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about. There's no doubt about that. Watch the Browns. Watson started again. It's preseason, so he's
Hmm.
tuning up. I wasn't, I mean, it wasn't like I could be critical and go, "Oh man!" I mean, it's the first game of preseason. Um,
Right.
watch some of that game. The Commanders managed to squeeze that out.
Hmm.
The Steelers and the Bucks um, just kind of flip back and forth. Um,
Yeah.
the Falcons,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
Baker's job to lose in
yeah,
Tampa Bay. It's his job to lose, but we'll see, we'll see.
it just and with Baker, man, he's just had his issues. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's just kind of snake bitten. I mean, he had a good season,
Hmm.
had a lot of injuries um had some injuries in Cleveland. But I think with him, he puts a target on himself. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah, a lot of this, a lot of, you know what I mean? He was,
Yeah.
remember all
So
the
he
commercials?
right. So you made your brand bigger than your talent. So now it's like, and honestly, I do believe, like, I go with the rest of the sports news. I think that Tampa Bay may be his last spot as far as like a starting job. This might be his last hurrah. After this, if he doesn't win this job, he's backup material, solid backup.
Solid backup, make $4 or $5 million a year being a backup, and you could play. And if you get into a good position, a good team, I mean, a nice backup, I mean, you could play there for another 10 years,
Mhm.
which isn't a bad. I mean, it's not terrible. Maybe
Right, it's
not the
not a bad
position.
thing, but
No,
but when you
definitely not the
put
position.
right,
Yeah, when you come in that highly regarded, um, it might be a little bit hard on, and then look at Brissett. You sit
yeah,
down for a while, and what do you sit down for 3 years,
hmm and
and then
he's a solid quarterback.
and you got your chance, got the job, and you know what I mean. I mean, sometimes it just takes a little while. Um, takes a little while. It's all in football time. Maybe his time ain't right now. If you get to
Yeah,
stay in the league for a couple years, opportunity comes, he matures, um, and he gets another opportunity. We'll see what happens because Miami's got more than that problem. Miami's got a
yeah,
lot of issues. Yeah,
hmm
I mean when they defunct that team after the Super Bowl win, um, I mean everybody went. It was like a sinking ship. Rats were jumping off. Um, but yeah, they got more than one issue. He's not the only issue they got, but he'll catch all the limelight. I saw. Honestly, I watched a little bit of every game. Did you watch any of the Jets game?
Yes, I did. I watched. Yeah, I did. I watched some of the Jets preseason game. They as well have offensive line issues,
Right.
and they have a very tough schedule. So
Ah, they
it'll
do,
be
they do,
interesting to
but
see what they do with it.
somebody brought up a good comparison. They said you remember the first couple years that um, that Manning went to Denver and he lit it up.
Hmm.
Had great years, and then he got an injury.
Hmm.
They built that defense up, and then all he had to do was be the general
Yeah.
and manage the team and do it. And they won a Super Bowl. Um, so I think it's there to be had because the Jets have a really, really good defense.
Yeah, they have
Um,
a great defense and they have a promising looking roster too. Those guys go after it. Those young guys go after it. So it'll be interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see what they look like.
I mean,
But
I
it
don't
would
see. What are you gonna say, Lou?
no, I was gonna tell you to go ahead because all I was gonna add was that if Aaron Rodgers were to lead them, you know, if he was to lead them to the Super Bowl or the title game, that'll help his legacy more than hurt it. If something positive come out of this Jets team, you know,
Yeah,
some that'll definitely help his legacy if he made it, deep into the deep into the playoffs or
even to the
even to the
playoffs.
yeah, or to the
Well,
championship game.
there's a lot of quarterbacks, not a lot, but there's quarterbacks that that at some point they it's like, hey man, we're always gonna like Kirk Cousins.
Hmm.
I think Minnesota's at the point where we can win a lot of games with Kirk Cousins,
Right.
but we're not gonna win. We're not gonna win a Super Bowl.
No.
But you can go 13-3. You
Yeah.
can win your
You
division.
can
You might
definitely
be
be,
able to,
yeah.
yeah.
You'll definitely
But
be a
that
good team. You'll be a good team, but you just won't get over that hump.
right. And so I think Minnesota's coming to that realization. Um, I think a lot of people, there's a lot of quarterbacks got a lot of money, and so it's uh, of course we got to pick on Dak. I mean, this is a year,
Hmm.
Dak has a great record. They just can't win the playoffs. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I mean, I talked about this with Josh. Um, in the years to come, I mean, if we just keep winning, but we never win a Super Bowl, we just we got a good team, but never won a Super Bowl. You know what I
Right.
mean? We could turn into the Utah Jazz of the '90s.
Yeah.
Great team,
Always in
great
the
team.
playoffs, but never the big dance.
Never won the big dance. I mean, after a while that gets heartbroken. I mean, I know there's only one Super Bowl winner. Um, Mahomes has already proved he can go there and win and lose.
Mhm.
Um, but there's some other people that got a lot to show. Lamar and um, uh, the Bills quarterback. I mean, Aaron
Right.
don't have a lot. Aaron don't have. I don't think like He's been in the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. Um, I
Yeah,
believe
he's okay.
if anything happens with the Jets, it's not going to be. He's either going to not have enough talent on the offense. You know what I mean? Because you got to have the
Right.
weapons. But I think their defense in the right setting, I think the defense can hold them because I don't see Rodgers giving the game away. So I think they're in
Right.
a good spot. Um, but like when they were talking about Cousins not being able to, win in the playoffs, that sounds good, but also that whole team fell apart in the playoffs last year. It
Yeah.
wasn't just him. We could
No.
blame him, and it sounds great. Like, oh, we're just going to blame him. But end of the day, man, I mean, it was a whole team collapse, and
Right.
that made me realize like, well, how good of a team. I mean, they beat the Bills. I ain't gonna lie, they beat the Bills.
Hmm.
But some of the other schedule was kind of weak. They won 13 games, went to the playoffs, got knocked right out. Um, the Chargers, they beat the Rams. But again, this is preseason. Uh, now, how many series did Carr play? He played one.
I think he played one series and he drove them down the field. They scored, and
Yeah,
Jameis, yeah, and Jameis Winston came in and he drove them down the field and got him a touchdown as well. But you could tell that David Carr is the starting quarterback for that team. He's starting
Yeah, I
quarterback for
think.
that team, and
Yeah,
he looks good, and he's gonna look great because he has weapons. He has Kamara to dump down to, which is playing in the preseason. He'll be suspended for the first 3 games of the regular season. Is it
3.
4? Yeah, I think
It's 3. I think maybe it's
it's
4.
3. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's 3. It's 3. Yeah, first 3 games of the regular season, he'll be suspended for that incident
yeah,
by the league. But he after that he should be good to go. They got some good backups there, and I don't get too much in the rumor mill with the Saints because every free agent that's been out there, they've been trying to bring them in, from Dalvin Cook all the way to DeAndre Hopkins. So
yeah. And Patrick Mahomes played for what? A down?
yeah, I think he did.
It
I
was
think he
two,
did one series or two
one series.
series. Yeah, I think it was one series. So yeah, we're not going to get much out of the starters, but I just think in Sean Payton's case, he was just setting the tone for the team and letting them know, hey, he's got to build a culture first, and
Yeah,
then everything else fall into place.
yeah. Houston beat New England. Uh, New England is going to get Ezekiel Elliott. What do you think about that signing?
Good. That's a good signing. That's a good signing for It's a good signing for New England because uh, although Zeke isn't the old Zeke, but they like what they saw when he went to work out for him. They say he looked good. His cuts were good. Lost a little weight. He's got that hunger back. He's got something to prove. So I think he'll do good up there. One
Well,
thing
they run.
about because they made it work with others. Leonard Fournette and other backs that went through there and had pretty productive seasons. I think Zeke will work. It'll definitely help Mac Jones out. And the only thing New England really can't get right is receivers.
Right.
Every, Everything else they're pretty much good on. But yeah, it's just something about the receiver part. They can't get that right. But it'll be a good addition for him though. I'm happy for Zeke. I want to see him, I want to see a resurge in his play because it was once dynamic, you know. So I want to see him get. I know he's not going to probably get back to the old Zeke, but I want to see a productive Zeke. But I think that'll be the best for right now. That'll be the best bet for him to go, and he needs to take that and run with it and try to do the best that he can with it.
He signed a 1 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna run 2 tight end setup. So I think he's gonna do fine there. I
Yeah,
really do. I think he's gonna have a good year. Probably run for 1,000.
yeah,
Um,
and he's a good blocker. He don't like to do it, but he's a good blocker as well.
yeah. So I think they'll utilize him. They'll utilize them. Go on. I couldn't see what they were paying him. I couldn't pull that up, and they may have came to something where Dallas pays a little and they pay some. Um, they, but yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think that's the future that we're going to see in the NFL. Is running backs are going to be they're going to be journeymen.
Yeah. And I found that info you was looking for. You was looking for Tony. Now according to reports, Ezekiel is a 1 year deal with the Patriots includes a $3 million base salary with $1 million signing bonus that could be worth up to $6 million in incentives. And according to Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to wear
Number
number
15.
15, what he wore in college, as opposed to 21. And I like to see that. I like to see when the guys like, they change their numbers, go back to college, get that old drive back. So we might see a different and a motivated Ezekiel Elliott.
Of so he took a pay cut.
Yeah.
He took. I mean, that's just name of the game right now. I mean, you just gotta. I mean, he has a good year, make all the incentives, sign with somebody else, maybe get a 2-year deal out of them, out of New England.
Yeah,
You
and
got to do.
yeah, looks like Dalvin Cook signed a 1-year deal with the Jets. He signed a 1-year
Ah,
deal worth up to $8.6 million.
okay,
So that's good for Aaron. He's got solid
yeah.
back. He can catch out of the backfield and the flat, you know, and yeah. So that'll be good for them. That'll be good for them. It would have been better if the Bills had picked him up. I just feel like the Bills need a solid back for Josh Allen. He can't be the running game. Not this
I
season.
agree. I agree with you 200%. Um, maybe the numbers didn't couldn't maybe the numbers just couldn't make it work.
Right.
And the Jets, they've come in, spent a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like I said, all these people are signing these 1-year deals, trying to see what they fill out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it'll be very interesting to see at the end of the season. This is gonna be a season for the books. I tell you, this is gonna be one. I'm telling you, this is gonna be. I was looking at all the prop bets on who win the Super Bowl, and of course, Kansas City is plus 600, um, which is really the favorite. Everybody else is pretty high up. But when I look at it on that straight bet, it's hard for me to go, who else do I see in that category? I see them. Um, I don't see the Bengals anymore. I know people think I'm crazy, but I don't see. I see them winning their division. I just don't see them in that light anymore. I'm not saying ever. I'm just saying now.
Right. With Burrow's injury, they're gonna have to play catch up.
Gonna have to play catch up. Now the Raiders or the Vegas. I'm not saying I see them, but I see them as a dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch out for. Denver can go either way. Either
Yeah.
way. Um, and then you got, like I said, Miami. If they can stay healthy, you can't count Pittsburgh out. And there's just so many people that I can't even the Bills. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
just so many. But what happens? It seems like the last couple of years is everybody's almost killed themselves, and then they had to go against Kansas City. Kansas City takes the wounded duck and goes into the. Even though last year they were the wounded duck, but you
Absolutely.
realize that man can
Mm-hmm.
barely stand.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would bet there was a doctor that said, "I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but you might not want to play in the Super Bowl," and I'm sure he had a couple choice words for him, and like, "That's not happening."
Right.
Because when I saw him move later in the game, I said, "Man, this guy can barely move."
Right. Right. It didn't
He
look
was a
good. The injury looked worse than it panned out to be, but
high
it
ankle
didn't look good.
sprain.
It didn't look
No,
good.
he was hopping around on one leg throwing the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad
But see,
sprain. That hurts.
yes, but see, that's that quarterback you need.
Hmm. Any motion, any movement on that thing, and it's terrible. But you pay through you play through the pain and you get the results.
Yes, absolutely. You know what I mean? It's just um, crazy. Let me bring this up. ESPN. Um, go back up here. PN. Yeah, it's definitely I want to. I tell you what, we got some time. I want to bring my book of sponsors out, and I want to talk about a couple of our. I want to talk about Big Robbie Billiards, 2648 Barksdale Boulevard, King of the Diamond Table. They will be moving to a new location right down the street. I'll get the address. Again, these are people that we work with. Great place to be. Again, if you're over looking for a nice liquor store, kind of sells unique stuff, Connected Bottle, guy who owns it is Corey Shepard. It's 8982 Mansfield Road. And if you're over in Bossier or wherever you're at and you're looking for performance, tires, rims, music, lifts, go see my guys at SI Motorsports, 98 Benton Road, Bossier City, Louisiana. And again, if you want to get on our list, be one of our sponsors, give us a call at 318-221-5422. We'd love to highlight your business. That's what it's all about. We all need to work together. And help each other. Like I said, if you're looking to do any kind of advertisement, TV, radio, internet, our guys over at KM Radio, I got our guys and girls over at KM Radio, give them a call, 318-221-5422. Make a plan. Do your advertisement for your business. Make it steady. You don't have to spend a fortune, but just make it to where it's consistent so people are always hearing your name. You can be a sponsor on you can be on our Facebook page. We got Cam Radio Facebook page. We have a sports book, right. And in the next 3 weeks, when football season starts, that regular season, man, You want to talk about booming and bopping.
And you want to get your business, business advertised in those commercial spots because all our eyes are glued on television. All eyes on the television. So if you want people to see your business, this is the perfect time for them to see it.
Yes, football season is hot. It just is. Whether you like football, you don't like football, it caters to such a demographic across the board. Football season is hot. And then we got basketball that's going to start. You're going to have pretty soon. It's going to be October. We're going to be talking about the World Series.
Right.
Definitely. All right, guys. Let me see how much time we have, Big Lou. All right, we're winding it down. I want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night to Tony G and Big Lou, #1 station in the land, KM Radio, where we go ham.
Ham.
KM Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book, every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Appreciate everybody tuning in. All right, they got a list of the top 10 quarterbacks, strongest arms in the league. We're going to do it like David Letterman. Starting number 10.
Right.
Kyle Murray, the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray, number 10. Number 10? This season?
Number 10. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Number 9 is Lamar Jackson.
Now,
this ain't our list. It's what
it's not our list, but
Number 8 is Matthew Stafford. He's got a strong arm.
Won the Super Bowl few seasons ago.
Yep. Number 7 is Jalen Hurts.
Wow. Number 7?
Number 7. Number 6 is Anthony Richardson, the Colts.
Oh, okay.
Number 5 is Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars.
Yeah, I can see that.
Number 4 is Aaron Rodgers, the Jets. Number 3 is Justin Herbert, the Chargers. Now, number 2 and number 1, I could number 2 is Patrick Mahomes. Strongest arm. Now this. Now we're not talking about how great of a passer. We're just talking about strongest arm.
Strongest
Who do you
arm.
think they gave? Who do you think they gave number one to?
Strongest arm. Josh Allen.
They did give it to Josh Allen, who does have a strong. He does have a very, very strong arm. His accuracy is a little bit off. Looking at that list, I could kind of, we could kind of go back and forth on 9, 8, and 7. 7, 8, 9. We could move them around a little bit.
Yeah, we can show that up a little.
Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he has a strong arm.
Yeah, he has a pretty strong arm. I forgot. I forgot about that.
Justin Herbert has a strong arm. Accuracy is something to be desired, but Patrick Mahomes has a strong arm. And I'm not, again, this is because I'm a Bills fan. I could see where Allen, he can throw a 70, 80-yard pass in the air. Accuracy, I got to give it to Pat.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to Patrick Mahomes because he can make some unbelievable sidearm, underarm. He can make some passes.
Right.
But that's their list for the top 10.
Yeah.
Some people are a little surprised that Russell Wilson didn't crack the top 10. But if you really look at it,
it's been a long time since he's had that kind of arm. That was what, the first Super Bowl?
Yeah, you're going back a couple injuries.
Yeah, you're going back to the Denver Broncos. Well, not Denver. Yeah, going back to the Denver Super Bowl with
Yeah, you're going. I'm gonna tell you also. I always thought this isn't in the list, but Cam had a cannon.
Oh yeah.
Cam had later in his career had problems because of
after that shoulder injury, it kind of it lost it a little bit, lost the velocity a little bit. Well, he still had the velocity, it's the accuracy was off a little.
And he had foot problems for almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that affects it too because you can't plant your foot down.
Right, and he's a big guy.
Yes, Cam's a big man.
He's a big guy. It was hard. It was hard to get him down.
Yeah, he was a 250-pound guy, 6'4", 6'5", well built. Did we ever figure out if he was anywhere this year?
No, he's
he gave his list who he would back.
Right.
Who would be a backup.
Yeah, he hadn't got called. He will probably see his phone ring around mid-season, maybe.
That's what I was thinking too.
Around mid-season, we'll probably see his phone ring. Because
somebody will get hurt.
Because although I think the jury is out on Cam and I've seen him play, and now I'll say the long ball is probably not there anymore. Or it's there, but we're going to accuracy a little bit, but he'd be solid for a team. But
be a great backup.
But Cam's persona, and this is what Baker's going to suffer from. His persona is big. It's too big for backup, per se. It's like you shoot yourself in the foot, even though you're a dynamic player, but your persona, will kind of hurt your backup because, even though you're not better than your starter, your persona is bigger than your starter.
Right.
So it's always going to be a controversy where you go.
Right. And speaking of that,
Cam is starting quarterback or he's coaching. We can never see Cam in the backup role unless, he just says that's all he wants. That's what he wants to do is coach up the new guy.
Like I said, he gave his list. It was like 7 quarterbacks that he would back up. But, I'm sure he's, I think he'd make a great backup quarterback if he could play that. We were talking about Hasselbeck. Remember Hasselbeck, the quarterback?
Yeah, Matt Hasselbeck.
I mean, he played a long time in the league,
Yes, he did. And played
and he
pretty
was
good for Seattle. He played pretty good for Seattle.
yeah, he moved around, and then he became a backup, and he did really. I mean, there's been some guys that have played 16, 17 years as a backup.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, their job is to come in and to maintain it while
Yeah.
until the
Teddy Bridgewater
uh,
made a career out of it because he's a pretty
yes,
solid guy.
not
He'll get you good 8, 9 games.
yeah, but he wasn't the starter. He
Right.
just never.
Wasn't the
He
starter.
just yeah. He just something
Came
happened.
in and managed wins until the guy that drives the car comes back in.
Yeah, he was a little bit like Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
I
Good
mean,
solid
Fitzmagic,
quarterback.
good solid quarterback.
Get
He
you to
was
the
good for
playoffs,
about
but will never get you over the hump.
no.
And if your record is bad, he can't flip that record. Like he can't go on well, he kind of did with the Saints. He went on a 4 or 5 game winning stretch.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But he'll give you that. He'll give you if you got him for the season, you guarantee 8 games, you know, or above. But we could never get you to that second and third tier that you need, to get that hardware. So, but solid play. Solid play. Everywhere he
Yeah,
went, he was solid, you know.
he yeah, definitely solid play. Um uh I was trying to pull up how long did what's his name play?
Matt Hasselbeck,
No, not Hasselback, but Fitz.
Fitzpatrick.
How do you spell it? I don't even know. Fitz
Fitz
Itz
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick
Yeah.
career.
And while he's looking that up, make sure you go over to khanradio.com every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Catch us live on the air. And also go to the sports book on Facebook and also on YouTube. That's where you'll see Tony G and I. You'll see a replay of the show. You might be able to catch it live at 8 o'clock. If you can't catch us on KHAM, you can go over to YouTube and you can watch the sports book on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in the sports book with Tony G and Big Lou, and voila, you have 1 hour of sports entertainment. Thank everyone that subscribed to us. Thank you to the Sportsbook Army. And like I said, we got more things coming. Just gotta bear with us,
Yeah, just bear with us on the
Gas is like almost $4 again, so however the economy goes, that's how the budget is.
yes, there you go. This is very, very we were talking about um people's persona being too big to be a backup. So they were
Right.
talking today about James Harding, and they were talking how James Harding is really, it's all about his brand. It's all about the money. It's
Oh
all
yeah.
about him asking, like all his endorsements and everything. He's always asking for raises, pushing the products, looking for city, city that, um, cities that can promote his bigger markets, I
Mm-hmm.
guess is what um and I guess at the end of the day there's nothing wrong. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I guess at some time you just say, hey, I was after the I was just after the money.
And
And
there are guys, yeah, and there are guys in the not just the NBA, all sports. That's all they're there for. They're there for the chick. As long as the chick as long as they got the chick coming, that's what they're looking for. They can give a flip about, championships or all those accolades, run the check. Show me the money, as they say. And they're content with that. They'll play just good enough to gain them, incentives, and they'll live off that, perfectly fine with that. And I feel like that's where James Harden is. I could be wrong, because I'm not in that guy's head, but we've watched him play a lot of basketball. And we've watched him play a lot of seasons. And it just seems like to me that, as long as he's making the money, he's playing good enough to make the money, he's content.
So how many years you think Fitzpatrick played in the league?
I will guess that Ryan Fitzpatrick played at least, I'm gonna say 12 seasons.
He played 16.
Wow.
He started with the St. Louis Rams in 2005.
Wow.
He ended with the Washington.
I forgot about
I know.
that.
Yeah, you forgot about that. He was with St. Louis, and then he went to Cincinnati, and then he went to the Bills for 3 years.
Yeah,
Then
remember
he
the
went to the
Bills.
Titans for a year, Houston
Yeah.
Texans for a year, the Jets for 2 years, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 years, Miami Dolphins 2 years, and 1 year with the Washington football team.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing
career for Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
Fitzpatrick, as we say.
Yeah, he passed for 34,000 yards. Completion was 60%. Yeah, pretty amazing. And he made some money. I mean, he made some money along the way.
He made some great money.
Yeah, he was just one of those guys. I mean, he knew his role. He played it well. And I think that's the other thing with sports is getting players to know their role. And I think that's a lot what goes on with basketball, with them trying to load the box. Everybody not knowing not accepting the role that they have. Because I think you saw that with Brooklyn. I mean, I think you saw that with the Lakers back in the day when they tried to load the box with older talent. Things just didn't work out. And look at, and Carmelo's kind of one of those players too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got great numbers. I mean, he's got great numbers.
It's just that he didn't adjust his game. He didn't adjust his game to what was currently going on in the NBA. Because he constantly played ISO ball throughout his whole career. And it got to a point to where, that's not going to work. So that's the only thing I think that kept Melo, and I think it kind of kept him from getting a chip because Melo he had that talent to where he could have got a chip. But I just think ISO ball kind of held him back, with the changes going on in the NBA with it, the way that it did change.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to change with the times.
I mean, he got drafted in 2003. And he played with the Lakers in 2021 to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Played with Portland, Houston, Oklahoma, the Knicks. He played for 6 years, and the Nuggets. He played for 8 years. When he was at the Nuggets were a good team. They just couldn't get over that. Couldn't get over that hump.
Right.
Kind of like where they had been the last couple years, but they got over it. But yeah, he's another player. I mean, he's got great, great numbers, Hall of Fame numbers, but not one to win. And we talk about that all the time. And you look at Miami's quarterback, the great Dan Marino.
Great Dan Marino.
I mean, guys, you look at his numbers.
Greatest regular season quarterback ever.
He said the greatest regular season quarterback ever. Yeah. He made it to the Super Bowl his rookie year and never went back.
Never went back.
Kind of amazing when you look at when you kind of look and really Miami hasn't been to the Super Bowl
Since.
since then.
Since.
Since then. Yeah, since that.
Never
Yeah.
been to
And
the
that was
Super
in the
Bowl
80s.
since Dan Marino.
Yeah,
That was in the 80s.
yeah. So
So
they're going on 40 years and they're going on 50 some years the last time they won one, right? Undefeated
yeah,
73 Dolphins.
absolutely. Undefeated 73 Dolphins. And and
Never went
we
back.
and right. And we understand that football looks easy, sitting from where we're sitting at. It's hard. Not only to get to the Super Bowl or the playoffs, it's hard to get the quarterback right. And sometimes you can
Yeah.
get the quarterback right, and you can't get the team around you. You can't get the talent around your quarterback right. It's
Look
harder than what we give it credit for.
look at the Saints with Archie Manning, all pro quarterback.
All pro,
Never
all
went
pro quarterback.
anywhere.
Didn't go anywhere with it.
Kind of amazing. But then his
Mhm.
sons come in the league and they got four together.
Right. Some guys come off of Mr. Irrelevant and
Well,
and become one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the sport. And then you
true.
have
True.
the gunslinger sheriff Peyton Manning that played all those years in with the Colts and only got one Super Bowl out of it.
And that was a hell of a team.
Mm-hmm.
That was a hell of a team. Um, that was a hell of a team with
Yeah,
Dungy,
heck of a team, hell of a team, because Bob Sanders was a
Bob Sanders.
wrecking
Oh
ball in the
man.
back, wrecking
Yep.
ball safety.
Yep. Bob Sanders. They had great wide receivers. They had
Yeah, Marvin
what's his
Harris,
name? The running. Yeah. Oh, Harris. And then they had the running
and then
back.
they had
James was
Edrin
his last name.
James.
Edrin James.
Edrin James. They had some guys go through there.
It
So
was
yeah,
it's
pretty
kind of
amazing.
amazing. You got any basketball news?
Okay,
I haven't
basketball
seen.
news. The
I haven't
NBA,
seen. I haven't really seen much.
not much brewing with the NBA except for like D James, Jay's hard talk, calling Daryl Morey a liar, and you know, he never played, for a team but regardless of
I
his
know.
comments,
Yeah.
yeah, he really doesn't have a dog in the hunt. Sixers control the narrative on that. They're not going to trade him for anything. So this is just going to be one of those. This is going to be one of those scenarios where he probably had to play this one out. He's going to have to play this
Yeah.
one out.
Yeah. It's not going to be. Apparently, it's not going to be. Um. Yeah, it's going to be. It might get ugly. Because Harding he can afford to do what he wants to do.
Yep. Other
And that,
NBA news. Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, Paul Gasol, and Dwayne Wade were enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. All of them were deserving. All of them were. Um. And then Tony Parker talked about his friendship with Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
How special that was, and those were special teams at San Antonio. I know they didn't get a lot of credit or a lot of airtime, but that 20-year run they had when they won 5 titles, they were really special. That was a special. That was a special organization. Um, and like I said, they just didn't get the. They're in a different market. You know what I mean?
Right.
For whatever reason, they just didn't get all the accolades that maybe Boston or the Lakers or New York would have gotten as much attention.
Right.
But again, they're in the smaller, and I say the same thing with um, when the Saints won.
Right.
The Saints were, people recognize them, saw, but they weren't watching the games. That's not in
No.
their, depending what depending what part of the country you live in, is depending what games you're seeing. Now, of course, you got the NFL Network, which everybody can watch any game, but still, though, the main primetime games are, if you live in New York, you're watching the Jets, the Giants, the
Right.
Cowboys, the Eagles. You know what I mean? That's what you're watching.
Mhm.
And so that was pretty, like I always said, so I thought that was probably one of the best things that happened for football is the Saints winning. People are like, I said, well, number one, they're a small market.
Yep.
And
The
in this
small
small
market,
market, yeah.
and then the story of
Oh,
and then
yeah.
and then it was like the perfect story for their team, rebuilding from the devastation of Hurricane Katrina and
Katrina.
holding that city, that football team held that city together.
Right. Right.
So any scenario that's feel good story, that's gonna be good,
And,
for not only NFL but for humanity to show that, you can rally around that how important these teams are to rally around to, even help the community and society even,
sure.
be better themselves.
But, it's like Kansas City. Kansas City's not a big market.
No.
It's not a huge market. Cincinnati's not a big, they're not Houston. Houston's a huge market, but even San Antonio is not considered a big market. You know what I
Right.
mean? San Antonio, um, Cincinnati, Philly, the
Yeah.
Giants,
San
the Jets,
Diego.
stadium.
Yeah.
Those are massive, massive markets. I mean, these other, um, even Buffalo's a small. I mean, Buffalo's a small market. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not a massive, massive market. Miami's massive. Um, like I said, Cincinnati, Cleveland, those are all small
Small
markets.
market towns, yeah.
Yeah, and so when Kansas City wins two, that kind of changes. I mean, look at Denver.
Hmm.
Denver winning, the Nuggets winning this year, or Milwaukee the year before. I mean,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, there isn't a lot of now we get a lot of games on Milwaukee. We weren't even that year that they won it. We weren't getting a bunch of games, um, because they're not in and especially the time zones. The time zones are different. Um, that's why you don't see a lot of. That's why a lot of people don't see a lot of Dodger games. They
Right.
come on at they're coming on at um, 11 o'clock our
11
time,
and 12
nine
o'clock at
o'clock
night,
there.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. At our
Yeah,
time.
most of us
Um,
are in bed, we're getting ready to
right, right. If it's
right.
8, it's got to be like
Shutting
a
it
six
down for the
o'clock
day,
game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the games come on late, so we don't really get to see it because of even though LA is a huge market, but it's a huge market for the other side of the country. Um,
Right.
but man, I'm pretty excited about the season. Like I said, I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be I think this is going to be a unbelievable season, and I got a feeling
Absolutely.
I think we're gonna see a Super Bowl champion that we've never seen before,
Oh, absolutely.
or
Absolutely.
we haven't seen in a long time. I think it's
Right.
going to be. I think it's open right now that teams like Cleveland, Cincinnati, even the Bills,
Hmm.
um, Miami, the Jets haven't won since the '70s. You know
Right.
what I mean? Since the great Joe Namath. Um, I mean, that's all. And they're all. I mean, you could say they're all in the hunt. Um,
Yep.
the
And
Raiders.
some of these NFC teams got to step up too. Like,
Yeah.
Dallas window is doing this.
Yeah. Oh
Their
yeah. I
window
mean,
is doing this. And
and
now
not.
it's time to see what this $41 million quarterback is about. Now it's Dak's time now. It's been what, 5 years?
Yes, this is his seventh year in the NFL, and
Seventh
then
year in the NFL. It's time.
if he leads them to the NFC Championship and they lose, he'll sign that 2 year extension and
Mhm.
probably get $60 million. There's no doubt. If he
Yeah.
doesn't, I think I mean they're talking about it. I mean, then they're going to have to go. Okay, what are we doing? Is
Right.
it time to move and go a
It's
different
time to move
direction?
on, go a different route.
I mean, there's always going to be a team that's going to want them. It's just about
Mhm.
finding a team that can afford them that could even give them a chance of winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
The Jets just happen to be in a good position because they just started putting it together, so they had plenty of money. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now in 2 years they may not because they got a bunch of studs they're eventually going to have to pay,
Right.
but they're in a good position. Um, I mean, even the Saints making the move for Carr. That was
Yeah.
remember we didn't think they could make that kind of move.
Right.
Um,
I
but
didn't think they was gonna be able to pull that off.
they did. They pulled it off. They managed to pull it off, and I think he's going to have a good year. He's going to be strong. It's going to be competition level is going to be very, 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 very high. All right, guys, our time is winding down. Lou, much love. Every
Much
Tuesday night,
love, Tony.
8 o'clock. Yeah, and I want to thank our guy Elaw for making it all happen at KM Radio. And like I said, man, give us a call. Reach out to the station if you're interested in advertisement. It doesn't have to be with us. 318-221-5422. Reach out. They'll take care of you. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week right here on KM Radio, where we go ham.
And